It's noon here in Ventnor City, New Jersey, and our nation's capital, Washington, D.C. And this is CarEdge Live for Monday, May 26th, Memorial Day, with your host, me, Ray, and a new kid showed up on the block today, Zach. How are you today, Dodger fan?
New kid on the block. I'm so glad to be back, Pops. Thank you to the CarEdge team, especially Justice. And of course, a huge thank you to my dad for allowing me 2 weeks off back in Japan. I was working. I just wasn't doing the CarEdge show. It was incredible to be there, Dad. So thank you so much for what you were doing. And let's take a moment. Today is Memorial Day. So hopefully y'all are enjoying a day off from work. We are not. And you're taking some time to, really thank and honor and pay tribute to those that do work much harder than us to protect our country. Memorial Day is a hell of a day, man. All those air shows going on yesterday too really demonstrate just how powerful the United States of America is. So really, really, really important special day here.
Just to take a moment, if I may be serious, and it would only be for a moment. Today is a day where we remember and we honor those who made the ultimate sacrifice on behalf of our country so that, well, I don't know, Zach and I and the rest of us can do the nonsense that we do. And it has been usurped by a degree, or to a degree, by the retail industry in that, well, it's a huge sale day. Go buy some furniture, go buy a car. Maybe it's time for that new TV. When in reality, we should be spending some quiet time reflecting on the ultimate sacrifice that people made so that we can do what it is that we do. So, I spent way too many years in the car business and way too many Memorial Days cooking hot dogs and hamburgers and pretending that it was a fun day, when in fact it's supposed to be a solemn day. But I will try and bring the frivolity back.
No, appreciate you mentioning it. It's it's a really important day. That being said, let's have some fun. I'm excited to be back here with you, Pops. We're going to be talking about the sponsor of today's show, Delete Me, in about, 7-8 minutes. Something tells me we're going to run a little long today. And a friendly reminder to everyone here, CarEdge.com. My dad and I started this company over 5 years ago, and it is all about serving you and helping you get the best deal. And honestly, just having a pleasant time buying your next car. We also have solutions for helping you sell your vehicle, tracking your vehicle's value, auto insurance, and warranty solutions as well. Dad, you just mentioned it a moment ago. We are offering 20% off CarEdge Insights and 20% off our car buying services. So check that out back at CarEdge.com. The big story I wanted to cover this morning, Dad, and there are quite a few, is that there are a handful of automakers that seem like they're on the brink of potentially going extinct. We did a video over on the CarEdge channel about a month ago talking about this, and there's some new headlines this morning that I think help capture what is going on in the automotive industry. And we'll start here, Dad. Cash-strapped Nissan mulls selling global headquarters to fund revival, report says. This reminds me of when Stellantis former CEO Carlos Tavares came out and he said something in a headline that I didn't even have to come up with clickbait that day for the show because it was so crazy what Carlos Tavares said. Dad, cash-strapped Nissan mulls selling global headquarters to fund revival? I mean, if we're doing a top 5 list of automakers that might go out of business, this definitely gets you on the list.
Well, yes, it does. And this comes on top of the fact that you were at Nissan's Tokyo showroom,
yes,
with David Chow filming when you were in Japan.
Yep.
And I know David was saying, "Oh no, they're a long way from gone." Well, when you have to start selling off your real estate assets, with the hope that you can raise enough money doing that to, well, stay in business, that doesn't really bode well. The idea would be that this headquarters building that they built should be worth somewhere in the neighborhood of $675 million or so. So the hope is that they can come to an agreement with somebody to say, oh, yeah, we want to spend $675 million and buy this from you and we'll lease it right back to you, so you don't actually have to give up your global headquarters. You'll have the cash to be able to hopefully survive. Is $675 million enough to carry you on that path to survival? This is a company that's looking to save $2+ billion just in the United States so that they can survive. It's a company that's looking to close 7 manufacturing facilities around the world because they have more manufacturing facilities than they know what to do with. And the facilities that they do have are all underutilized.
Which is interesting because they are starting to increase some production at those facilities because they're anticipating that their demand will go up because they will not be as impacted by tariffs because they have some domestic production capabilities here in the United States. And the Rogue is supposed to be the vehicle that really brings them back, Dad, that brings Nissan back. It's priced at a point where most people can afford it. It's got a bunch of incentives. They have huge incentives at the dealer level. And so as we talk about these automakers that are struggling mightily and potentially could go out of business, they do represent some of the best bargains for consumers out there right now because they're so stressed financially.
The story that I relate when I had my Golf USA store in Mesa, Arizona, the best sale day, dollars and cents wise, in money that I brought in. Okay, and this was a Golf USA franchise is an off golf course discount golf store, like a pro shop. And my best day ever in the 5 years that I had the store was the first day of my going out of business sale. Why? Because, I don't know, I had to reduce the price on everything. Well, if you're going to reduce the price on everything, that doesn't mean just because you sell more at a lower price point that it's enough cash flow to keep you in business. And cash flow is king.
I hear you loud and clear, and still an opportunity for our community if they're looking for the best deal possible. Dad, let's look at another automaker that I think is in hot water in 2025, and that would be Dodge. They're eliminating the Canada-made Charger Daytona Road and Track for 2026, and they're claiming it's because of tariffs, but you don't have to look that far. I went over to the nifty CarEdge machine, CarEdge.com. I clicked on Shop New Vehicles, and we're looking at Dodge Chargers in Phoenix, Arizona. And I'm just going to click on this first one right here.
Yeah.
And you know where I'm going, Dad. I'm scrolling down to this section right here. 405 days supply of inventory. The reason that Dodge is in hot water, the reason that they're no longer going to produce this vehicle in 2026, sure, tariffs can be, a scapegoat here to a degree. It's also because there's a 400-day supply in Phoenix. 7 of these vehicles have sold in the last 45 days, yet there are 63 on dealer lots right now. Dodge is another automaker, number 2 on our list here, that may be running into some financial troubles here in 2025.
Stellantis, they're part of Stellantis. Which obviously they have more money available and cash available to them than say Nissan does at the moment. But yeah, it's clever marketing to say because of tariffs, we're gonna stop producing these in Canada. Could it have something to do with the fact that because nobody wants one, we're gonna stop producing them because we've produced enough that if we don't produce another, in some markets in this country, we have over a year's supply of these vehicles.
I think that could be it. And you want to see something pretty scary, Dad? If I go ahead and change the zip code here, so instead of us looking at, let me pull it back up on the screen, instead of us looking at this particular vehicle in Phoenix, Arizona, let's go back and instead let's look in Detroit, Michigan. Let me get that zip code really quickly. That would be 48127, 48127. Let me hit update. What you're going to see here, now I'll click on another one, the same exact vehicle, a Road and Track, same trim. you're going to see a drastically different days supply of inventory, 56 days supply. Reason being, they're subsidizing the hell out of these or incentivizing the hell out of these or getting employees to buy them or something's going on, because you cannot have a 56 days supply in Michigan and a 400 days supply in Phoenix and not tell me that they're doing something, I'm not going to say fishy, but something interesting locally.
Here's the difference. Everybody in the Detroit area qualifies and has, like forever, qualified for employee pricing, because everybody knows somebody that works for one of these manufacturers.
There's got to be something above and beyond that going on, though, man. Like, that's
I don't. It's like there was a time when Joseph A. Bank Clothier, they always ran a sale, and the sale was buy 2 suits, get the third one free. And I thought to myself, imagine being the moron that goes in on the day that they're not having the sale. Okay. And so, like, the people in the Detroit area, everybody it's always a sale day for the people in the Detroit area, because everybody there either works for one of these manufacturers, knows somebody that works for one of these manufacturers, and the codes for the employee pricing get passed on. I don't know. There's probably a market out there where you can buy these things online.
I hate to break it to you that I disagree with you. I don't think this is about employee pricing. I think there are deeper incentives going in with the employees. Like, you could that Ford and Stellantis and no, General Motors didn't do it, but Ford and Stellantis have done employee pricing for all. This is bigger than just employee pricing, and I think it's demonstrative of the challenge that Stellantis is actually facing, or in this case, just Dodge is actually facing nationwide. Like, they're having to go really deep in their pockets in their own backyard to get these vehicles off the lot. Yeah. I think it's bigger than just the traditional, like, hey, everyone in Detroit can get some sort of discount.
It's nothing like the challenge of being able to protect your data online, though.
All right, here we go, folks. The sponsor of today's show are the folks over at Delete Me. Data brokers are out there selling your information online, and anyone can buy it. What you're looking at on the screen is my Delete Me account right now. Things like your phone number, social security number, home address, and more are sold online, and scammers, marketers, and everyone in between, they're buying it. Delete Me, the sponsor of today's show, helps you take control over your data. Delete Me actually removes your personal information from hundreds of data brokers on your behalf. You're looking at my account, where last month Delete Me reviewed, or this month Delete Me's reviewed 2,273 listings for me. You can get started today with a 20% off code. Use the code CarEdge, or click the link at the top of the description. Join deleteme.com/CarEdge. Dad, every single month Delete Me is putting in the work. I'm asleep, and Delete Me is deleting my info off of the interwebs. We appreciate your continued sponsorship, Delete Me. Dad, the third automaker that I want to bring into the fold here would be Volvo. Volvo has another not so good headline this morning. Volvo will cut 3,000 jobs amid profit plunge and tariff uncertainty. I don't think this headline does justice to what's going on over at the Swedish, now Chinese-owned automaker. Dad, 15% of their corporate staff is getting laid off. 3,000 is a big number, but 15% of corporate staff feels even bigger. Volvo seems to be in some hot water here, and their profits plunged in their most recent quarterly earnings report.
Well, Volvo is a Swedish company that's owned by Geely Motors out of China.
Motors, yep.
And yes, they're going to reduce their workforce, their white collar workforce, by 3,000 globally, which represents 15% of their total white collar workforce. That's a significant cut. And so between that and the fact that, a lot of their stuff is built either in Sweden or China, and the impact of the tariffs on bringing something in from the EU or China is significant. And like many other manufacturers, they're not 100% certain as to how you navigate this at the moment. No. They have suspended their financial guidance for the future because they don't have, like everybody else, a good handle as to what can happen or what's going to happen. The uncertainty surrounding tariffs is just causing so much tumult in the automobile industry that, yeah, it brings into question whether some of these brands will be able to survive long term. Um, are they going out of business tomorrow? No, they're not Fisker. So no, they're not going out of business tomorrow. But the future doesn't necessarily paint a bright future for them with the issues that all these, at least the first three that we've mentioned, are experiencing.
No, definitely. I mean, 15% of your corporate overhead, and you're saying you're doing it because you have to reduce your costs. I mean, I don't know. That's pretty easy to make our little list here. Let's go to the CarEdge machine and do another experiment, Pops. What I want to look at this time is obviously a Volvo. So let's go ahead over here and let's do the Volvo. And I don't know, let's get rid of electric. Or actually, let's look at some of their EVs. Let's see, how well are these Volvo EVs moving in Detroit? We'll click on the EX30. This is, I think, their cheap, more affordable option for folks. Let's scroll down here. There you go, a classic 203 days supply. That is not what Volvo wants to be seeing, and that's on that electric vehicle. Let's go back really quickly.
Wait. The fact that there's only 9 of them available,
yeah,
okay, and only 2 have sold in the last 45 days shows that, at least in that market, you can have a huge day supply of vehicles without having to have, well, a huge number of vehicles for sale. I mean, it's proof positive that in that market, that's not the right vehicle for those people who live in the Detroit metro area.
We've got here, Dad, from Maddie B, wanted to see the XC40, and from T Howe, the XC40 and XC60. So let's look at those. Let's do that right now. So let's go back here. Let's do the XC40. Let me get rid of the electric filter. There we go. All right, so we're still in Detroit. We'll just click on the first one here. So this is a 2025 Volvo XC40. I think the trim was Ultra, and there you go, 103 days supply. That's high.
It's high, but there's only 16 cars available.
Think about that. Yeah, that's actually wild, Dad. Within 100 miles of Detroit, you only have 16 of these available.
Well, what you have.
I want to go down here really quickly. Good kudos to the team. I went away and we got like new pages here. This new price history graph looks good. I want to see if there are any incentives. So let's go all the way down to incentives. 4.99% financing. That's not going to move these.
And the lease money factor isn't cheap either.
3.48.
Yeah, 3.48. It's not terrible, but
if you're not using the CarEdge car search, folks, you're missing out. This is good information that the team's got here. So that's the XC40. Let's look at the XC60. Let's click on that one. Then we're going to our next automaker. So we got the XC60. We'll click on the first one here. Also, I'm like totally going over here, like the general market days supply information up at the top for Dearborn, Michigan. Such good info here.
Yeah.
Let me click on this. 108 days supply, 24, Dad. There's only 24.
Well, let's not forget that in Michigan, per se, in the Detroit metro area, where so much of the domestic automobile manufacturing happens, import brands aren't as popular there as they are in other parts of the country. And let's face it, if you're General Motors or your Ford or your Stellantis brands, you want to encourage your employees that are building those damn things to buy those damn things. So that's probably not as accurate a market to survey as if you did like the Chicago area or something like that.
All right, he's putting me on the spot, folks. I'm back. Let me get a Chicago zip code really quick. We're going to go to 60131. Let me do that right here. 60131. We're going to hit that little update button. We're in Franklin Park, Illinois now, Pops, and let's click on this first Volvo. That's on the screen. And let's scroll down here. There's your 107 days supply. More for sale, 93 for sale, 39 have sold in the last
You can
45
you can
days.
see the difference in the take rate, in the sense that it's still about 100 and some days supply, but there's much more of a market for those cars in that area than there is in the Detroit metro area. And so, when we oftentimes say things can really be regionalized as to how we see pricing, it is so very, very true, because it really depends on where you are in the country. If you're in the Pacific Northwest, um, more than likely you're getting taken advantage of way more than if you're in the Northeast when it comes to pricing.
To be clear, that's like why we built what we built, which I'm like 2 weeks removed from it. I'm coming back. I'm like, holy cow, this is good, man. I mean,
Yeah.
like everything that we're looking at here, the team did a great job, by the way. Shows you the target price range that you should be shooting for. So that's the dealer discount, the target dealer discount that you should be shooting for. MSRP, you've got the invoice price of the vehicle. You can download the Windows sticker. I can click on incentives and it shows me what incentives are available for the vehicle. This is like, I was away for 2 weeks. This is really good, guys. This is really, really good. So
Did the people remember who the hell you were when you came back? Any?
Look at this stat from Cannibal Lecter. At what numbers can you begin to use days supply, days on market against dealers for a better deal? What do you say, Dad? I'm thinking anything above 90, and you've got a lot of leverage.
The manufacturer doesn't really want a car to sit on a lot more than 90 days. The dealership doesn't want it to sit on the lot for more than 90 days, because the cost of financing that vehicle to sit on the lot is astronomical. So once you start getting past 90 days, there should be a tad bit more motivation on behalf of the dealers to want to move them. And if you're looking at vehicles that have a 200-day supply, market day supply, the dealers that are holding the line on those vehicles, well, they're the fools. It makes so much more sense to relieve yourself of inventory that you can replace than it does to sit on that inventory and absorb the carrying costs of sitting on that inventory. And a lot of times, salespeople, sales managers, management staff, they let their egos get involved. And it becomes, well, whether I could or I couldn't, I won't, because I'm King Kong and I deserve all the money.
If I may, Pops, just want to reference a great tool at all of our disposal. You can either use Google, or if you're using like ChatGPT or something like that, just ask, what is dealer floor plan? And then put CarEdge. And you're going to see here, the first response comes from the community forum. We don't talk about the community forum that much on the show anymore, but we should. CarEdge.com/community. And you can see a great conversation here with Gout Rice, one of our community champions, as well as Igor, who's frequently here on the show, talking about and explaining what the dealer floor plan is. So please, 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 there's all sorts of great information back on the CarEdge community forum. And floor plan is one of those core concepts you have to understand, because honestly, even as we're having this conversation about automakers who are on the brink of going out of business, one of the reasons they might be on the brink of going out of business is all the floor plan subsidies they have to provide their dealer partners who are also potentially on the brink of going out of business. So great information back on the community forum. And of course, whenever you're on Google or ChatGPT or whatever you're using, just put CarEdge in the question and it'll pop right up with our information. Dad, two more automakers who potentially could see themselves going down a very bad path. I'm going to pull this up right here. I'm going to go with, and I'm going to our market days supply data from Cox Automotive.
Yes.
One is going to be Jaguar, because they have so much inventory on dealer lots right now and they're not selling to the point where they don't even make it onto this chart. And the other I'm going to go with, Dad, is Mitsubishi. Yes. That automaker has a 105 days supply in the United States right now, which is significantly about 50 days higher than the nationwide average. Both these brands have way too many vehicles and they're not selling for very different reasons, I will say. And I think both potentially are going to run into some challenges staying in business. Jaguar, for what it's worth, is taking the year off. They decided that they needed to, take an entire year off. I don't know. That's
They
quite
wanted a gap year.
they wanted a gap year. They go to Europe for the year
Yeah.
before they
Well,
do
no,
med
they're in
school or
Europe.
something like that.
They're probably going to North America just to, to travel around a little bit, taking a gap year and seeing what they'd like to do after that gap year. I'm going to add one more,
Let's do
if
it.
I may. I don't think it'll go out of business globally.
Okay.
But I think it could find its way out of the United States for a second time, and that would be Fiat. I remember back in the 70s and 80s, we used to see Fiats on the road, and we used to get Fiats as trade-ins, and then they left the American market, and they have since come back. They don't sell in any great numbers. They
No.
never have. The concept was to challenge Mini to a degree. Well, Mini has gone maxi, and they don't sell anymore. And so I wouldn't be surprised if there's two Stellantis products that leave the United States again. One would be Fiat, and the other would be Alfa Romeo.
Yeah.
Because it wouldn't be the first time Alfa Romeo left the United States as well. And that's not to say that those vehicles couldn't have a market. They could. I think it's probably been overstated by Stellantis as to what that market is, and it's probably not cost effective at this point for either one of those brands to remain here. Just my opinion.
I think you're onto something, Dad. I think those brands definitely deserve placement on our 5 automakers who are on the brink, which is now the 7 automakers who are on the brink. I need to do something really quickly, folks, which is remind you that we currently have our 20% off sale for our car buying services back on CarEdge.com. So check it out back at CarEdge.com. 20% off our negotiation expert service, which is when you know which vehicle you want and you just want us to do the hard part, negotiating with those dealers. And 20% off our concierge car buying service, soup to nuts. We take care of everything on your behalf. And I'm grateful. I want to highlight today on the show a recent review that we received. CarEdge Concierge was great. This is from one of our recent customers. Joe H. got us a great deal on the new Mazda CX-50 Hybrid. It was super easy. We have watched the videos many times, but after trying to remember all the tips and tricks while the sales staff chat, ramble, and generally distract you, we decided to try the concierge service, and we're thrilled with the outcome. Highly recommend it to anyone who wants a great deal, especially if you have a trade-in. So there you go. A tremendous thank you to that community member, and a great reminder to our community that we have this promotion running. I cannot encourage people enough to take advantage of these services when we run these promotions. It's a great value. It's a tremendous value.
And may I say that car sales, like the salesperson rambling and this and that, it is no different than what a magician does, which is the art of distraction. Okay, here, follow this hand. Well, everything that's going to happens to be in the other hand. Okay, so it's all about a distraction, and so we kind of help you take the mystery out of it, and kind of prepare you for what those distractions are going to be, the sleight of hand or the
Dad, it's more when you use the services, it's more than prepare. We do it for you. You don't have to worry about it. Preparation is what happens over on the main CarEdge channel and with CarEdge Insights. But that's enough about that. Dad, I want to come here an incredibly thoughtful contribution from Michael. Thank you so much, Michael. Zach, welcome back. In my opinion, the camera really liked you in Japan. It seems you have a choice. CEO of CarEdge, or Hollywood's new young leading male action film star, perhaps.
Wow.
You may have to learn stick for some of those car chase scenes. That's incredibly kind. Thank you for that. Really appreciate it.
Yes.
I don't think I'm going to be a TV star or movie star anytime soon, but I did have a blast filming over there in Ginza Square with David Chow from Automotive Press. And Dad, David, he is such a kind human. He took me out. He speaks Japanese.
Yes.
I had such an incredible experience with him. So thank you for that very kind contribution, Michael, the kind words, and a thank you to David and Mayu, who we were out with in Atami and also in Tokyo. Really cool experience.
Well, may I say we're very happy and pleased that you're back. I don't know uh, I shouldn't speak for everybody. I know I'm happy and pleased that you're back. I do have a question, if I may, real quick.
Sure. We do have a new segment for today's show that I want to test out, so just keep that in mind. But I have
Okay.
no plans, so let's keep
Okay.
going.
Well, the question, just as a foreigner in Japan, obviously, other than maybe being able to say konnichiwa, which is hello in Japanese.
They have different hellos depending on the time of day, but yes.
Oh my God! Well, I'm done already. So, but assuming that konnichiwa is how many people over there speak English, or how easy is it to get around and know where you are and what's going on if you really don't speak any of the Japanese language?
Hard. Getting around is easy because the train system, the signage, and everything is in Japanese and then in English, and the train systems are incredibly effective and incredibly good. So that aspect, getting around, is fairly easy. But communicating with people is a challenge. A lot of people learn English in school, is what I learned, but they learn it like a lot of written English and not spoken English, and so. There's also a culture of deep respect in Japan that was really, really, really interesting for me to interact with. And that respect translates into not wanting to have a bad conversation with someone. And so there will be people who will not engage in a conversation in English, not because they don't necessarily know how to speak English, because they don't want to be disrespectful in that conversation with a foreigner. So that was something that I was really thrown off by, because culturally here in the United States, I think it's a little bit different. But yeah, no, it was a challenge, Dad. It was very much a challenge to connect with people in English, and was really appreciative of when people would try.
And may I say, I'm pretty sure you're not necessarily a Dodgers fan,
No.
but could you explain to the audience why you bought a Dodgers jersey, and whose name is on the back of it, and what it was like actually going to a baseball game?
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to be clear, Dad. I want to talk about Japan. I also want to get through
Okay.
some of the stuff with the show, but I'll share. This is a Shohei Ohtani jersey. So one of the ideas, and it's actually from the Tokyo series when MLB played games there. So it's got the cherry blossoms on it, which I thought was super cool. This was one of my attempts to be able to make friends in Tokyo, and in Osaka was wearing an Ohtani jersey, and it worked. Lots of people came up and gave me kudos for wearing a Shohei Ohtani jersey, and I think it's a cool looking jersey, so I was happy about that. And baseball is massive there. I mean, the fans, we went to a Hanshin Tigers game, which is one of the teams in Osaka, and they were playing the Hiroshima Carps, I think it's Hiroshima Carps. And that 45,000 people in this stadium, and they cheer the entire game. I'm not kidding. Like, it is absolutely surreal. The entire game they are cheering, and then the game ends and no one leaves. This was the most surreal part I'd ever witnessed. No one leaves. You know how here in the United States you end up like trying to beat traffic, so you leave a couple minutes early.
Well, you leave in the seventh inning in the United States to beat the traffic. Yeah.
No one leaves. They all listen to the player interviews. There's cheerleaders and dancers. There's kids that go out on the field and get balls from the player. I mean, I stayed an extra maybe 20 minutes.
Wow.
And no one left. And there's songs. I mean, it was a really, really, really cool experience. And I'm really grateful that we were able to do that. If you're interested in hearing more about my Japan trip, I'm over on Instagram. I'll pull that up really quickly. And I've posted some things to my story, but you're more than welcome to follow me over there. That would be where you can learn more about this Japan experience. And this Japan trip was really awesome. So yeah, happy to share more, but it was pretty doggone cool. And my first time in Asia. So really cool experience.
So sorry to go off the rails. Now you can pull us back on the rails, and we can continue with the business of the day.
I want to try something. It
Okay.
might fail, but you know what? I want to give it a try. So we're going to try it. Folks, just one person. All right? I need just one person to call. Not too many. Just one. Pretty please. Okay, so don't all jump at once. We need
Well,
one
let
person.
me wait 1 second. You say, gee, I just want one person to call. There's 950 people live watching this as we speak, and none of them can see what the other is doing. So
It's just sense it. Sense if someone else is calling. Okay, so we need one person to call. You're going to be live on the air with Ray and Zach from CarEdge. Okay, just no pressure. Just one person. We need one person to call.
and nobody's called yet.
Not yet. Not yet. Give it a second here. Can you hear that?
Yeah. Can I dance to that?
Hey, you're on with Ray and Zach from CarEdge. Can you hear me?
Am I really?
Hey there, Dad. Can you hear him?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey guys, how's it going? I was a GM tech for 31 years. And I've been retired for 9 years now. I'm just wondering what the heck is going on with this silly car market.
Yeah. Well, hey, what was your name, sir? Just so we can get it.
My name's Ken Christ, Crist.
Ken, thanks so much for calling. And you were a GM for 31 years, you just said, and you're wondering what's going on with the car market. Well, I think, Pops, we'll keep this relatively short because I think we don't know what's going on with the car market either, Ken. It's pretty crazy.
Funny.
I
Well, I
will.
watch you guys every day, man. I love your show. Just love it.
Really appreciate that, Ken. Go for it, Pops.
Yeah, I was going to say, hey, nobody really knows what's going on in the car market, and even when you were actively involved in it, and I was, you still had no damn idea what was going on in the car market.
No, not at all. I was a GM tech for 31, and that was tough enough.
Well, Ken, we really appreciate you calling in. Thanks for being the first caller now with phone calls back on CarEdge Live. Enjoy the afternoon, and we'll see you back here tomorrow.
That's cool. Glad
Wow.
to see you back on
Thank you.
vacation. Have a good time.
See you, Ken. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay, so may I say the issue with it is that there's a little bit of feedback.
I think that was because Ken had our show up in the background.
Okay, and so it made it difficult for me. But yeah,
Try one more.
sure. Only live once.
Hey, you're on.
Hey, guys.
Ray and Zach, what's your name and where are you calling from?
Oh, I'm calling from North Carolina, guys, and I just turned my volume down so you shouldn't have any feedback. This is Ronnie. So,
Hey,
guys, I
Ronnie,
watch your show.
appreciate that.
I love watching you guys. I'm on the fence right now about buying a vehicle, and I'll be honest with you, I've looked at some GM stuff, and it seems like the motors, all of them got motor issues. We got a rubber belt on a diesel engine that breaks at 100,000. Nothing. We're throwing rods through the block. And I'm driving an old Ford Limited, which I absolutely love, with 178,000 miles. I'm looking at buying another Limited. I'm having to find a used one, but I don't want a hybrid. Do you guys think prices are going to go down, or do you think they're going to go up? Because if they go up, people are just going to keep fixing stuff. I mean, I don't know how these dealers are going to pay their rent or anything else for their buildings if they don't start selling some cars. Anyway, that's just my 2 cents worth. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks,
Thank
Ronnie.
you.
We'll turn that volume back up and we'll discuss it right here. We appreciate you calling in. Pops, what do you think? You think there's a chance here that we're going to see prices go down on some of those vehicles? That Ronnie's got a point. They're just sitting, aren't they?
In some cases, they are, and every time we've had conversations or predictions where we said, wait 90 days, do this, do that, prices are going to come down, the car market's going to collapse. It hasn't happened yet. Okay. And we know for a fact that there is a shortage of quality pre-owned cars out there. So the pressure, yes, a much smaller percentage of the population can actually afford to buy cars today. But that percentage, even though it's still dwindling, and maybe it's down to 15 or 13% of the population that feels comfortable with still buying cars, apparently the manufacturers believe that that is a big enough percentage of the population to be able to sustain their business. I have said for years and years and years that we have an affordability crisis and a problem, and that it's at a certain point that's going to have to be addressed. nobody seems to be willing to jump on that bandwagon to any great degree, other than GM was trying with the Chevy Trax and vehicles like that, but some of that stuff is imported from China, which means prices are going to go up on those. I don't know.
But Pops, Ronnie
Yeah.
said a couple things in there. One, he was talking about some of the quality issues, and I'm going to pull it up on the screen.
Yes.
I mean, GM, car dealership guy, was covering this the other day. They're facing a new lawsuit over those V8 engines. You know, the 2021 to 2024 trucks and SUVs that have the V8 engines that are being recalled because you can see their total engine failure. So, I mean, there is some quality concern questions more broadly, just throughout the entire auto industry. Toyota with the Tundras, for example, we didn't even talk about it today. Another 400,000 or 500,000 Tundras are getting recalled right now for a mechanical issue. So lots of quality concern issues with new vehicles. And Ronnie also said hybrid, Dad. And I think that's where I get really hung up about prices coming down. Hybrid's the most in-demand powertrain option for automakers right now. And I think that's where you're going to see the most price pressure is on hybrid vehicles. So I don't know, if you've got something and you can drive it into the ground. We make money when people buy our services, buy our products, and when they shop for cars. The past 2 months have been a little tricky here at CarEdge because less people are in the market to buy cars. But I think the truth is, if you're looking for a hybrid, you're going to be a little bit more challenged than if you're looking for an EV, for example, or a regular internal combustion engine vehicle, because those hybrids are in such high demand.
You just have to believe at a certain point, manufacturers will listen to the concerns of the buying public out there, and they will do something to address them. It can't always be, if we build it, they will buy it. We're seeing now, more so than ever, if we build it, there's less people that are willing to buy it. So you would just think at a certain point, they look at that data and they say to themselves, we need to expand the potential customer base, and we need to do it by offering vehicles that are a better value and at a lower price. The average asking price for a vehicle today is just under $49,000. That's, if I may say this nicely, that's lunacy, for goodness sake. That number needs to be below $35,000, not below $49,000. I mean, so somewhere along the line, maybe the manufacturers will listen to what their customers are clamoring for. I know car dealership guy they did a survey about touch screens and push buttons, and finally the manufacturers are realizing that some of the technology and like the touch screens, people don't like them because it takes 4 times longer to do what it is that you're trying to do when you have to utilize a touch screen as opposed to a physical button or knob. So, manufacturers are finally going, yeah, maybe we should listen. And so maybe, and the maybe is like, it'll probably take another 2 or 3 years for them to go, damn it, we need to build what our customers want.
This is part of what was so interesting with my time spent with David Chow. You can't change things on a dime. Okay. The vehicles that we're getting today were designed and pre-production and everything like that 3-4 years ago. And so, the new information we get, it's going to take 3 or 4 years to influence what happens down the line. And Dad, if these automakers don't listen to these customers, maybe there will be a crash.
Perhaps. And if there
Crash
is
sound effect, no feedback on the crash sound effect.
I didn't even hear it.
Oh, dang it.
Hit the crash sound effect again.
1 second. Let me make sure it's coming through. Let me make sure the crash sound effect's going to come through. Stand by.
The only thing that's crashing is the show at the moment. So
Nothing? You're not hearing that?
I just heard that you were frozen for 10 or 15 seconds. So yeah,
I was not.
Well, you were on my screen.
Well, wait a second. I've got a sound effect for that.
That one I heard, and you usually play that one for every one of my jokes.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, Dad. Do you want to go back to the phone lines? That was kind of fun.
Geez, I want to eat some lunch.
All right, Pops is going to eat lunch, but now we know phone calls work. So I need some feedback in the live chat, and I also need feedback in the comments after today's show. Do you want to see us add phone calls as a segment that we do, whether it be daily or maybe we do a full dedicated show just for phone calls? I also have some ideas around other segments, like highlighting a concierge customer who's done particularly well. And I need to take a moment here just for T. How. I just tried to call to busy signal. Yes, I took the phone number down so it wouldn't be ringing while we're on the show now. What's the difference between the two services? So let me just take a second to address this, Dad, because it can be a little bit confusing for our community. So let me pull this up. We've got two services, car buying services. One is Negotiation Expert. That's what's over there on the left. And that is cheaper. And the reason that is cheaper is because all we do is negotiate. That is all we do on behalf of you as a customer. You tell us the exact vehicle you want, and then we do all the negotiations.
Well,
The
wait. That is, you found the car at the dealership, and you don't want to be the one that has to go through the negotiation process. You've done all the legwork. We're going to do all the negotiating work.
Then the car buying service, this is more expensive, which again, is $799, and you don't have to do anything, and it ends up paying for itself. You have a sense for what you want. You're not 100% sure. We find the vehicles, we negotiate the vehicles, we hold your hand through the entire experience. So different services. Obviously, the concierge service, the car buying service, contains the Negotiation Expert. But that is the difference between those two. And again, on sale right now. So please take advantage of that. Dad, we had a thoughtful contribution come through, and then we'll get you off to lunch from Rich. Good to see you, Rich. I missed you. Pops Rich says, did you see the hero, Roger Penske, telling the field at the Indy 500 to start their engines? 88 years old and still viable. Roger Penske, man, I would love to meet him someday. Incredible.
Well, maybe I can make that happen. I don't know. My guess is he doesn't really remember me, but maybe he does. I always gave him money to use to buy a chocolate bar out of the vending machine when he'd visit the store. I did not watch the race yesterday, so I did not see Roger. Knowing Roger, I know that he is so damn pissed with what was going on with his race teams and them being penalized again this year. So that even though this is the ultimate spectacle in automobile racing, my guess is that it was not as fun a Indy 500 for Roger as past ones have been.
Well,
and may I wanted to say one other thing. If we do phone calls, okay, just so that we can do it well, we should have a producer screen the calls.
No, I watched some of the shows that you did with the team and everything, and I love when you just throw things out. But no, we're going to do it, and I'm going to self-produce. And if it's a bad phone call, you're going to watch me go through the awkwardness of getting that person. We're going to self-produce it, man. I was so stuck on phone calls, Dad, because I was like, oh, we have to have a producer. And I mean, I was stuck for months.
Yes.
And you know what? I came back.
Yeah.
I said, F it, we're doing it. So I appreciate where you're coming from. And I think I understand your sentiment is we want to have quality conversations for the show with our community. I will solve for that, but I'm self-producing, baby. And if I'm doing a bad job, you'll tell me. You'll give me feedback. And I know our community will give me feedback too. But I am not adding a blocker to us doing it because it is really fun. I think it's going to be helpful for our community. And I finally got over the hump. So appreciate where you're coming from. And respectfully, no.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
We've got here from Michael. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael.
Simplicity, reliability, and affordability. Maybe it'll take a crash for the OEMs to stop their nonsense and return to sanity. Seems like that could be the case. Either a crash or the U.S. government lets those Chinese automakers into the United States with way cheaper price point. I don't know. That could add some pressure. And from Moving EK, thank you. Good to have you back, Zach. Mr. Ray did a good job. I enjoyed watching the shows. My dad is incredible. The team is incredible. And I am so grateful and happy to be back.
Well, I am grateful and happy to have you back. Nothing against the good folks that I worked with for the 2 weeks that you weren't here. But when I'm trying to lead a show, it's a lot harder for me to go off the rails. And when you lead the show, it is so much simpler for me to go off the rails and then watch you try to get me back on. So I think that's part of the dynamic that makes the show work really well. So yeah, I had to be on my best behavior for 2 weeks. Damn it.
You did a good job, Pops. You did a good job. Folks, we'll be back tomorrow. I'll be here. My dad will be here. We'll have some fun. Enjoy your lunch, Papa Shevska.
Well,
Much love. Oh, and finally, final thing. Yesterday was my dad's 74th birthday. So a happy birthday to my dad. We had a tremendous time celebrating at lunch with our family. And a friendly reminder, if you are interested in the personal side of things, you can follow me over on Instagram. That's where I'm sharing all sorts of stuff, both from the Japan trip and travels, as well as some fun photos from yesterday's birthday celebration. So check that out. It's Shevska, my last name. Really a special day yesterday, Dad, celebrating your 74th.
Tell them about the special sneakers you were wearing yesterday.
Oh, I'm wearing them again today. These shoes are awesome.
Okay. It's the first time I ever saw sneakers that have horsehair on them. So it was, I mean, I don't know why anybody would want to be walking around on a dead horse, but but apparently that's a big thing in Japan, I'm assuming.
No, it's just a pretty rare shoe that I was able to find in a shop that had my exact size. For any of you who care about fashion stuff, they're the Adidas Samba Wales Bonner ponies. I'll get you those for your 75th birthday, Pops. We're back tomorrow. Much love.
Thank you, everybody, for being here. Love you, handsome.